Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Creating You Together, where we're going to be talking about all things moving forward and what that means for everyone and how everyone's finding that. We've certainly been on a journey over the last 6 months. As you know, this all started with Helen simply checking in on everyone by starting getting together, and then we have the whole 6 months roller coaster of turns and straights come along, and here we are finding some of us doing things that we've never expected, others doing things that maybe they had intended. So we'd love to hear from all of you tonight and see how your journey has been and where you feel it may or may not be going. So joining us tonight, we have the whole team. We have Helen and Tony from New Zealand.
Hi.
We have
Hello.
Sonia from Hong Kong.
Hello.
We have me from Australia, and we have Orla from New Zealand, who is also going to keep an eye on your comments. So please feel free to share. We'd love to hear how your journey has been and where you feel it is going. And before we get started, how about we do what we usually do, which is just take a few moments to connect to ourselves. Take a few deep breaths to connect to our hearts. Simply letting go of everything and anything and allowing our connection to our intuition and to spirit to flow in, bringing harmony and balance. And as we align to this energy of balance and harmony and heart connection, we can see ourselves radiating that out across the whole world, so that it may be of benefit to others as well. So if you are all good, you can come back. And you can move forward with moving forward.
I'm struggling because we're sharing a headset and the earpiece doesn't fit his delicate little shell-like ear.
Well, listen, don't call me Dumbo.
Well,
It's going to be one of those evenings.
Oh dear.
So how has everyone's journey unfolded over this past 6 months? We found ourselves where we were 6 months ago, and here we are in different circumstances, sometimes not even knowing how we got to where we are. Maybe some magic has happened in your life, or some opportunities have arisen, or you've made some changes. We'd love to hear how everyone has been journeying through and where they are finding themselves at the moment.
Yes. 6 months ago, I definitely didn't think about I'll be here looking at the camera doing Creating You Together. That's my share. It is, that's not in my plan. So that was my moving forward to my share. I don't know what about the others. So how have you been? Also, last time we have these amazing videos showing like how it started with all getting together, like Anita just said, like getting together, creating you together. How do you all feel? How does that has any impact on you, and is there any forward experience that you would like to share?
Well, I'd like to share.
Mm.
I'm not jumping in, am I?
No. And if you are, you're going to do it anyway.
Well,
so
I've started now anyway. I'm going to tell my mummy you. So anyway, moving forwards, we in early March when the virus was more prominent and we started to go into lockdown over here, I think you Helen suggested that we may do a healing circle just to have an open night, and it happened to be on a Thursday night. So now every Thursday night at 7:30 New Zealand time, we just have an open healing circle. The healing circle is usually led by me, and it's usually pretty much the same meditation. The whole idea is to send healing out to the planet and everybody on it, including ourselves. And it's just something that we do for half an hour, and it's get more of a routine now, and it's something that I didn't know I was going to do. I'd planned on doing it, I suppose, one day in my own space, my own time, which would probably be 3 years' time. But then something happened, and it was suddenly in front. Time to do it. Let's get going. So that's probably the biggest impact I've experienced over the last 6 months. No logical answer to it. It was just something that seemed a good idea at the time. So let's go and do it. See what happens. And it's been working out pretty well. I've been having some very good comments on about it, which is encouraging. And so it wasn't planned. It just here it is. Go and do it. So that's probably my biggest noticeable effect on me.
I'm just going to put up a link here now for people to see Tony so they know where to go on a Thursday on Facebook. Let me do this, Tony's Healing Circle. So across the bottom there, it's a Facebook group, facebook.com groups Tony's Healing Circle, every Thursday, 8 p.m. New Zealand time, and whatever time it is.
8 p.m.
No, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Sorry, I got it wrong. I don't even know where I am. Yeah, 8 p.m.
He doesn't know what he's doing at 8 p.m. He's obviously thinking he's doing it at 7:30. So come along and find out which one is right.
I just constantly live in this maze, you see. And I know I'm in the maze, and I'm still trying to find out how to get out. I used to have a map, but it got wet with my tears, I think. So now I'm just down to my own intuition, and the little person up there in my head that says don't go there, turn left. So off we go. Anyway, I think I'm dominating this meeting a bit, aren't I? Which isn't the plan. So I'll leave you with that thought. Please feel free to comment.
Before we came on live, we were talking about what is moving forward and the difference between trying to make something happen and listening to guidance and allowing that step to occur. So with the healing circle and with getting together, they were both really good examples of that. Intuition, take this step and see where it goes, right?
Yeah, because what happened was listening to clients, I usually have a bit of a chat before or after. I sense the bewilderment for a lot of people and their fear that they'd be on their own. Mm. So I was prompted to put out a thing on Facebook. Let's just get together and talk about it and share it. It was never intended to be a teaching opportunity. It was always intended to be a sharing opportunity. So people could say how they felt, what worried them, what pleased them, what they looked forward to, what they dreaded. And that was just one step that I took, not thinking or planning to take it any further. Let's take the step and let's see. If there's an interest, great, we'll keep it going. And if there's not an interest, then we'll stop. Mm. And it gradually, to me, when you take that first step, if you take the first step without a fixed outcome, you will move forward along the path that's opening up for you. But if you take that first step with a fixed outcome, you may struggle to make it work. Because what you feel is important may not be what is important. And so it gradually unfolded, and then Orla, Sonia and Anita came on board, and we suggested that they do the Creating New Together, which has been brilliant. So it's already moving into a whole different spectrum, which also means that I can sit back, put my feet up and enjoy what they're doing without having to do any of it. That's another aspect of moving forward.
Yes, you can sit on the beach drinking Mai Tais. Your dream will come true.
That's right. Beach Mai Tais. Here we go. And it's not finished yet. The whole thing is starting to take on a life of its own. So for me, when we take that first step and we're open to what can come from it, our life moves forward along the path we're meant to take. That's what moving forward is for me. I don't know about anybody else.
The not being attached to an outcome is one of the biggest lessons of this life for me. And I can look back at my life and give you probably 50 times where I set out to do something with a set, definite expectation of a possible outcome, which is just attachment to an outcome. And it'll go to a certain point, and then you can't move forward.
No.
It's a whole different experience to what you are saying, which is just take a step.
Yeah.
But I think I wonder though, is there kind of I think you kind of get there could be a fear around jumping into the magic of that and thinking, oh, but if I only take a step, like how's that going to pay my bills? How's that going to get me where I want to go? But the truth is, when you're taking the step and going with the guidance, you're actually moving forward. Yeah.
And you're taken care of. It's when you hold on tight to know chapter and verse of every possible thing that could go wrong and how you're going to fix it, that you're not moving forward, except in your head.
No, but when you get to that stage, your life really is being governed by fear.
Yeah, totally.
It's a whole engine that drives your life.
Yeah.
Because you won't do this because it might not work. I might not take that job, that new job. It sounds really good, but what if it doesn't work out? So you stay where you are. You remain in that unhappy place. And the fear becomes your prime. It basically becomes your prime motivator, in as much as it's motivating you to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it shuts you down.
Yeah. So you never move forward because you've got this ball and chain, this anchor that's holding you down.
Yeah.
And it's only when you get, I don't know, something, you're usually backed into a corner where you've really, it's all or nothing. Now there's nowhere else to go. You've got to make a decision, and then you finally do it. All right, the road's not going to be dead smooth all the time. There's going to be potholes in it, but at least you started your journey, and your life is a lot more contented and more at ease. You're more in balance with you, and all your family benefit from it. So it's very easy to let fear rule your life.
Like you said before about the maze, it's moving your way through it, and even though you don't know where the journey is going to take you, it's about taking those steps. If you don't take any of those steps, like you said, you won't go anywhere.
No.
Amanda has said the big changes this year have meant for me that it was easier to take steps without a fixed idea of where it is going.
So how has that led Amanda into moving forward, irrespective of whether she knows where she's going? How easy or difficult was that? Because it's never easy. It may be easier, but it's never easy. There's always some requirement that comes out of it.
Yeah,
and it's usually doing new things, something new, because I can tell you, I too had no idea at all. If you told me 6 months ago that we'd be doing Creating New Together, was not on the radar. And like Orla was saying about not having an outcome, Tony's healing circle, what the biggest thing I've seen is by Tony and Helen starting what they started, and anything that anyone starts with that first step, we aren't aware of the effect that it has on others. Because your healing circle, Tony, well, for me, it's in my calendar, Thursday, 6 p.m. It's become such a consistent level, balancing. It's been a consistency through a year that has been
inconsistent,
a roller coaster all over. We haven't known where we've been coming and go. We've had so many changes to deal with, so many adjustments to make, but having that consistency available that came from you. So when we do something, we don't know the effect that it has on people. So for us, or for me, to create some sort of, this is the outcome I want because this is the goal, it's blocking off the magic of each step. We don't know the effect. So thank you very much, by the way.
No, you're very welcome.
Has Amanda replied?
Not yet, no.
Tell her
Maybe
she's
it
not
might be
typing
long
fast
answer.
enough.
Yeah,
She's
she
not
might
typing
be.
fast enough. Yeah.
No, quicker typing, please, Amanda.
For you to move forward.
Glynis has said, sorry, good one. Big thanks to this group for how it has shown that we're all experiencing uncertainty. It's great to know that we're not alone, and for the conversations that open us up to embracing things completely new. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Because we've all had to embrace new things. For all of us, there's been some aspect or effect that we didn't anticipate, did not plan for, that came out of it. And that's growth. If we embrace it, it's growth. If we fear it, it's stagnation.
Here's Amanda's reply. She said, it's not difficult at all, really. Guidance said to move. I moved house. Guidance said webinars. I started doing free webinars to help people navigate what was happening. I switched my work to online. I had no idea how it would all work. I just kept moving.
It's great.
Yeah. So there's a completely new path that's opened up for Amanda that she may not have anticipated doing if COVID hadn't happened.
I'm sure like that it's there's so many people that it's so true for. I'd say there's quite a lot of people who at this point, looking back over 6 months, would say I'm maybe working in a way I never thought I would work, or I'm doing something completely new that I never would do. I never would have thought like with this whole I wouldn't imagine doing a Facebook Live for creating new. There's got to be a lot of people out there who have little examples of that. Even if it's something small, all of it is still growth, like you say, Helen. All of it is still moving forward.
Yeah.
Amanda has said she definitely didn't anticipate that. I definitely didn't anticipate that I would be where I am now. I've started a whole new life.
Brilliant.
I think it's almost like this COVID thing, the COVID virus, whatever you want to call it. It's almost pushed. It's as if it's pushed a hell of a lot of people into a corner. Whereas I was saying earlier, it's pushed them into a corner. It's made them decide, which pathway to take. Do they stay where they are? Do they go and try something different? As Amanda was saying, never thought of doing it, but she asked and she was told this, that, and the other, and she's walking a new path. And you got to ask how many people else have been in that same situation. But by the same token, how many of them wouldn't be where they are now if they hadn't been this pandemic, if they hadn't had to work at home to do, they've had to try. We've all had to try and find a different way of doing something. And a lot of times we found a different way, but by the same token, at the same time, we found something new to do within that new space, within that new energy that we've got. I know, for some of us, most of us in New Zealand, we've been quite fortunate in terms of the pandemic. We haven't had to pay a huge price like, a lot of the rest of the world has. So maybe it's easier for us to talk like that because we're in God's own, as they call it, which we tend to agree with.
Although the Aussies call it God's own. So, we just have to be careful there.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, you look at the state Australia's in, the state New Zealand's in, wait for it, I much prefer my God to their God.
Hey, we have 5 gods. We've got 5 different states. We're ruled by 5 different gods. So we don't know what's happening.
Australia's got so many states. That's a problem with it. You don't know what state it's in.
No, we're all bickering. We've all disavowed each other.
absolutely.
We're all.
However, you're getting off topic.
Yes, I know. Yeah, but I'm just still trying to get out of this maze, you see.
The thing that I saw today, there's been a hell of a price we've had to pay globally, but the planet is moving forward in a much healthier manner because we can't travel. We can't pollute the air. We can't travel and pollute the oceans. And that shift of pollution's already been measured, and it's quite enormous. It's a shame that we had to have a pandemic for that to happen.
Yeah. Yes, I can see the sky in Hong Kong. Like normally, we only have clear sky 2 months a year maximum. Then we're already thankful for. And this year, the sky has been so beautiful, and it just look at it. It's like wow, the sky is so clear because there's not many planes, and it is a big change for us because in Hong Kong we're so used to pollution. We're so used to, especially like from Chinese New Year until Christmas. You can't see clear sky. All you see is gray.
Smog.
So when the moment you have a clear sky, you kind of like, wow. So I'm very thankful for this beautiful sky. Yeah.
So let us know if you also are doing something that you never expected to be doing, where your intuition or some sort of magic has occurred, where you found yourself doing something completely new, or if you're considering doing something new and ready to take that first step or hesitating maybe. Let us know how you're traveling through this adventure as well, because we'd love to hear.
This little message here from Marianne said, we have been creating a garden, which is something we may not have done.
And a lot of people are growing their own food at the moment.
Yeah.
Started because they were afraid of a food shortage. And certainly at the beginning, Tony and I have always grown our own veg. We went to get new veg to put in for the autumn winter season.
Seedlings.
There weren't any. The seedlings had gone. So, and that's because a lot of people thought, well, if food is going to be scarce, I want to grow my own. I mean, as it turned out, they got more in. But the point is that people are starting to do that. People have never grown their own food, are starting to grow their own food, and it tastes different, and that inspires them to want to do more. That's good.
Yeah.
Love that.
And that's partly also because more people are at home as well. And when you work at home, you actually have so much more time because you're not commuting or you're getting your work done without meetings and stuff. And I think that's also put people in a position where they're like, oh, I've always wanted to plant a garden. I've always wanted to grow my own food, and they now have the time to do it and to tend it instead of just doing a little bit and getting caught up in work. So there's been a lot of great stuff, that's come from, of course, come from the pandemic, as well as the stuff that hasn't been so great. Amanda says, being at home all day, I made a fruitcake, which I have done for several years. I've shared it with my new neighbours, and that's created connection. But yes, but did they like it, Amanda? That's the question.
And why didn't we get any?
Yeah, and are you posting it to us?
She could have sent it from Sydney to New Zealand, but she didn't.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing with this pandemic. It's really brought to light who your friends are and who they're not.
Yeah, especially when it comes to cake.
Well, absolutely. Say no more. Say no more. Fruitcake's the salt of the earth.
I was talking to a client last week who said that prior to the pandemic, her week was full of business lunches, charity meetings, balls, stage shows. She was always out interacting. She had a social secretary. She was always out connecting with people. COVID hit, and that stops. And so they left. She lived in New York. They left New York. They went into the country, and she had an opportunity to connect with nature for the first time.
Wow.
They're now back in New York, and she doesn't want to step back into the life that she had to the same degree. She makes a point now of going to the park and walking around the park and just taking time to connect with nature again. She's realized how important that was. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
The whole journey, this whole 6 months, from all the topics that we've talked about and everyone shared and discussed. We've had the self-care, we've had, our civil rights and our rights. We've had honouring and a prayer, aha moments. That whole journey has really been there, and seeing that people are now taking time for themselves and are doing, things differently. The journey has been stunning. And if you're watching this for the first time and you have no idea what exactly we're talking about, our Facebook page has our whole journey there with lots of different topics that we've discussed. Feel free to go check them out.
Perfect.
Love this prayer journey. I think it's absolutely magic, because like I said, 6 months ago, if you told me I'd be doing what I was doing, I would have gone, no way. So taking that first step can take you anywhere.
Glynis is saying that we spent more time eating together at home and really enjoyed it, as opposed to being like ships that passed in the night. Exactly. Actually having time to talk to people who you normally are like, hi, bye, or you're just going through the usual eat dinner, go to bed. So that's another good positive. Yeah.
Yes, also it's the same in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, we are so used to do takeaway and go dining because it's so easy. So when COVID hit, a lot of people start cooking, and they discover their own talents of cooking, or some of them are very talented. They didn't know about that. Some of them is bring the family together. That hasn't been happening for.
So I wonder how that would be moving forward, having come together, how that moving forward would develop for those people, because that's obviously the beginning. There's more to come.
Yes.
It's like the virus, how it's also had a second wave and a third wave and a fourth wave. The stepping forward seems to be, and moving forward seems to come in waves as well. So, this all started with the getting together wave, and then it's moved into creating new together, and then we'll be, moving forward on this as well. So, the journey is definitely open and wonderful when we just allow our intuition and spirit to lead the way.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It certainly is. We don't know what's around the next corner.
No.
We don't even know where the next corner is. You just got to keep going.
A funny comment here from Marianne. We've learned to find harmony through conflicts.
So how does that move forward, Marianne? Does that mean your conflicts get less and your harmony gets bigger? Or do the conflicts get bigger so you look for more harmony? How is the moving forward there working?
Yeah. And Amanda had another comment. She said she now lives near the beach, and every day the beach changes the way the sand is shaped, the colors, the size of the waves, etc. It has taught me a lot about how the natural world flows and shifts all the time.
Totally.
So it's just different perspective. It's seeing things so differently from what's outside your front door to your entire life. So many changes. Yeah.
Stepping outside the box.
So it's like we're actually like nature, but when we get our heads in the way and our fears, and like you said, we don't want to move forward, that we stop being like nature, because nature changes and evolves, and we can be like nature, not a robot. So we would love to keep hearing about your comments. Please feel free to share them, and if anyone else would like to share anything. If not, we will wrap it up until next time.
Yes, I think that's everybody. That's all the comments for tonight so far. But yeah, as you say, Nisha, if you're watching this later and you haven't watched it live, please feel free to comment as well. We always keep an eye on them and we'd love to hear your feedback.
And join us again next time as we take our next steps forward and you explore yours as well. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.